Welcome back to the Cow Park Bros podcast. Jason and I are fresh off discussing the recent news that Sears is closing its last store in its home state of Illinois. Shout out to Redfield Mall. In this segment, we're going to be talking about the waning support of the Capitol insurrectionists. Jason, do we dare need to even give a recap of this fuckery?
Did you just say insurrectionists?
Yes, I did.
I've never heard that before, but I like it. We'll have to keep using that.
Yeah.
Insurrectionists. There you go.
Yeah. We can call them cosplay insurrectionist enthusiasts.
Wannabes. There you go. That's what we
Yeah.
need to go. But no, we don't need to recap. I think people are pretty well aware of what happened. I think at this point, anything we say about it is stuff that's more recent or going forward. So, just my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, a small recap might be helpful for the uninitiated. If you've been under a rock the last all of 2021, hell, we started off the year with a bang, or at least some of these assholes did. These as my co-hostess with the mo-hostess, Jason stated, these wannabes tried to initiate a protest at the Capitol on January 6th. And then for some of us, they came in a little too hot, and they got a little carried away with the cosplay and decided to storm the Capitol and actually like try and take over the fucking thing. And then sadly, only a few of them got shot in the fucking head. That might be taking it a little too far.
Yeah, that was bro.
Maybe, Jason. Let's have this out once and for all. If you or I were to be insane enough to either A, try to jump the White House fence or try to storm the Capitol because we felt that the government was not doing what the government should be doing, do you think you or I would live to tell about it?
So listen, I'm not saying that, hey, look, to answer your question, yeah, basically, it's obviously stupid for anybody to think they can storm an official government building, let alone the Capitol building of the United States of America, and not think you're going to get some pushback resistance. Potentially, somebody start shooting back at you. So, yeah, definitely agree with that. Not saying that they should be shot, but I guess in a way it's kind of common sense. It's kind of like if I were to go ranting and raving inside of a police station with a gun, or not even with a gun, with brute force, with a bunch of people with me, like a mob, essentially, I can probably expect what's going to happen. It's probably not going to be met with rainbows, sunshine, and boxes of candy or flowers, nothing like that. So, but as far as this rally goes that happened recently on Saturday, I was kind of wondering, what are you rallying for? For what? Was this in support of something? Was this your stance to say that these people shouldn't be charged or prosecuted? Which I'm like, going back to what I was saying, it's like, what do you think was going to happen? You mobbed and stormed the Capitol building, breaking through windows, assaulting police officers, which I find the most interesting. To that, these kind of people who were obviously these are Trumpers. I don't think there's any denying that. And aren't these Trumpers, not to lump them all in the same category, but aren't these Trumpers supposed to be pro police and pro authority, stuff like that? But yet here they are assaulting police officers.
Unless it's something they don't agree with, then magically they don't believe in authority.
Yeah. So we just tried to look it up a little bit ago. We couldn't find any solid numbers for the amount of people that are actually at this insurrection. The number of insurrectionists, hashtag that. But we know the number of people facing charges for the event, that's over 600 people. So I feel pretty comfortable, and I'm sure Terrence does as well, saying there was probably at least 1,000 people at that insurrection back in January. So, and as far as them gathering, I'm sure that wasn't an issue with anybody. It's just when they started to take the step forward and go into idiocy to storm the Capitol building. So again, I say back to this rally that happened Saturday. What are you really rallying against? But I'm gonna let you go jump in here. But to that question, one of the speakers at this rally was the organizer of the event. Let me scroll down and find this guy. Let's see. Oh, speaking of which, the rally that the Saturday only had between 400 and 450 people, according to the Capitol Police. Apparently, that's down from the 600 plus they thought there was going to be there. But it's believed that maybe the police presence probably turns people away because they were ready this time. They were ready. Came out in full force with law enforcement. They're ready to go. But real quick, so the organizer of the event, Matt Brainard, who is the executive director of a group, Look Ahead America, he he said he urged attendees to respect the police and journalists in attendance, and said the rally was not intended to support people charged with committing violence on January 6th. Quotation: "This is about the many people who were there that day who have not been charged with violence, not been accused of assaulting police officers or destroying property, and the disparate treatment they received." Brainerd said, "This is about equal treatment under the law." That's his quote. We can dive into that for sure. But my question to that, and you can answer that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go with your question, like you always say, and let you go from there. Question or statement? What the hell, Terrence?
Yeah, Jason. I don't think that's a bridge too far. I think I am comfortable saying on wax that if you try to jump over the White House fence, if you try to invade the fucking Capitol building, hell, you could invade the fucking Mayberry Police Department. Fuck around and find out. If they shoot your ass in the head, guess what? You deserved it. I'm sorry. That's I, I don't even think that's an extreme reaction. I think that is simply understanding that there are certain things that we cannot do here in these United States of America. I know my black ass would not be living to tell about it if I tried to do that in my local municipality. So yeah, Mr. Equal Protection under the law, he's full of shit. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Well, there you go. Not a bridge too far. That's the name of a book, I think. But there you go. But so no matter what the reason, thankfully this event didn't go anywhere close to the direction of the other one. There were some people arrested for like weapons possession issues, but that might have been a low number compared to the 600 or 400 that were there. So definitely didn't have the same result. Probably wasn't going to happen based off the intent of the group being there, which is good. They weren't intending to storm the Capitol. Not to say the
Jason,
January 6th people weren't.
why do you think the shit didn't get out of hand this time? That's what I want to get
Oh,
at. Why do
simply
you
what I
think?
was well. Number one, the like I was mentioning before, the numbers balance is a little different. The insurrectionists way outnumbered law enforcement if there was any really much there at all
Cosplay
on January 6th. But on this time it was almost reversed. Again, 400 to 400 people, 400 to 450 people were at the rally. I lost a number of officers, but they had a lot of agencies there representing, ready to go for stuff to pop off. So for every article I did find, they said the law enforcement people outnumbered the people there for the rally. So there's your answer right there. There's that number one, and I think number two, I think that this rally is probably stands to reason based off of how it was probably created, was less emotionally charged compared to one January 6th. From the perspective of Trumpers, not making an excuse, but from their perspective, they're probably mad, angry, and disappointed about that election because they're sure they weren't expecting it to go that way. And then obviously that their leader will say their president was charging them up with that little speech he made earlier. Now, I'm sure he didn't necessarily mean storming the Capitol. I would hope not, but I guess people heard that and took it a little too far. So they didn't have any of that in this rally. So that probably changed the mentality of it. It probably just was a rally, and that was going to be it. There wasn't. I don't see any pictures of anybody, wearing like army uniforms, masks, trying to cover their identity. It's people.
Oh,
People wearing masks just because of COVID stuff, but they're not doing anything ridiculous. People in their normal garb, American flags, whatever. So I just think the mentality of the people there was way different than the people on January 6th. So I think
you
those are the
mean
two big reasons.
nobody showed up like they got the BOGO sale at 511?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen a lot of pictures looking at this article that we had in the chat of both the people there rallying and the officers, and yeah, nothing was going down that Saturday when it comes to storming anything. You would have been stopped well before you got there. They even have fencing up apparently around the Capitol. I don't know if that's in preparation for this event, but apparently they were more prepared for any type of insurrection if it were to happen again, whether it be Saturday or going forward. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'd shudder to think anybody's gonna be trying to do that again just based off of this situation because obviously it is looked at as a stain on America society, and I've heard that said from people on both sides of the ticket, whether you're anti-Trump or for him, that mark, no one wanted to see that, including me and you. But it happened. Obviously, we're moving past it. Hopefully, by the time this current administration's out of the office, it won't be even a thought anymore. It'll be
oh,
less remembered than 9/11. So,
yeah. That'll just be revisionist history about who actually showed up for that shit in the first place. That is what'll end up happening. Where they said, "Oh, well, we always said that president was crazy." No, you didn't.
well,
That's the part that's gonna piss me off like a lot. Um, but I also think a good chunk of why, well, first off, the reason why this rally, in quotations, is much more muted and understated is because one, a lot of those assholes are facing actual jail time. They know they got to chill the fuck out.
good point.
Like you got people with real fucking jobs that they lost, the fucking contract deals and shit. One CEO in Illinois literally got ousted by his own fucking company. His own company says, "Nah, dog, you can't be the face of the franchise anymore. You are out of pocket because you want to fucking you want to play fucking rebel on a weekend, whack ass weekend warriors. It's ridiculous." But no, we're saying that it's a stain on America, and it's a stain on America. But I'm also part of me is also glad that it happened because a lot of these people needed to be um kind of like illuminated for the frauds that they are. Like they said one thing, they said that they believed in law and order, and then they literally go hundreds, if not thousands, of miles to the Capitol uh to effectively cause chaos. If I don't know if that's not a hypocrite, I don't know what is.
Was Kyle Rittenhouse there too?
Well, shit. That's
Sorry,
the only,
maybe I should be joking about that, but
you should not be joking about that for obvious reasons, Mister Ross. But you know that that is why I'm glad that if we're that's really America has to just look at itself in the mirror. And when I say America, I really mean all of us, right? Because we tell everybody we're the best fucking country out of everyone. But then we have to confront our hypocrisy if we want to be the exemplary example. Then we have to confront ways in which we are not exemplary. That's what we have to do as a nation. So in ways big and in ways small. So Jay, you're muted.
I've heard people argue against this before when it comes to the thought or idea that America is the best country in the world because they point out its faults, which is valid and true. But that goes into what you're saying that we have to acknowledge the fact the ways that we're not the best in the world. Overall, that may be the case. We're not going to play the best in the world Olympics here to steal a line from you. But yeah, America has its faults. I'll admit that. I'm sure each individual is going to have their idea or opinions about what those faults are. But as long as you acknowledge that they're there, then that's the important part. And that's where change can happen when you're acknowledging the faults as opposed to denying them just because you don't agree with it. But yeah, I personally think this is a fantastic country. Overall, I think our faults, and this, I'm sure it's biased, but I think our faults aren't as bad as some of the other countries that I've looked into when it comes to how are other countries different from us in those aspects or the
Right.
aspects that make us good. So, yeah,
We also have to acknowledge though that unlike the scenario in which I said I walked my black ass into a Kohl's and returned something from Amazon, we don't have firsthand knowledge. We have to rely on other people's documented experiences there. Whereas Jason and I actually have lived in this country. So what we say is, one, we're telling you what most likely some of our relatives have probably told us, you know, but also what we've experienced firsthand as two black men in America. So I think that's all relevant. Totally, I agree 100%, Jason.
yeah, and that's also why, and well, I'll see Cowboy Bros is on YouTube, but I also watch that from a personal standpoint as well. And I've found myself getting into watching. I think I've mentioned this before on my personal social media pages that I find it fascinating to two things. One, see how people in other countries what their opinions and thoughts are about America, its customs, things that we produce, stuff like that. But vice versa, I've also gotten into finding out perspectives of people who are from America or actually even some other country and how they are living in another country. What's it like by comparison? I actually came upon a series of videos talking about Americans who live in certain Asian countries and what's the difference there living there compared to here. And obviously they mentioned the benefits of it compared to here, which sound fantastic. So in some cases, cost of living to still live in certain great areas, but then they mentioned the drawbacks, and it's like, oh, well, in that same aspect, I thought we had it bad here in America, but it's even worse there. So it's kind of like, okay, so it's really all about give and take. Because I would think, why would I ever want to live in another country when I got to deal with this? But some people, don't mind it and figure it out that this is what they missed living there. But what's better here? So I find those videos fascinating. So, but definitely it's a good reminder of what makes this country great. And then also, like I was saying before, our faults are our faults, but it's always worse somewhere else in that same area potentially. So
You're saying that the grass is always greener on the other side. I see what you're saying there.
essentially, in much less words, yeah, that
Yep.
statement, yeah, yeah, I can tell you're accusing me of being long winded, so I'll go ahead and stop now.
I mean, if I were to do that, I would simply just say it. But I appreciate the banter as always. And that concludes this segment on the grass not being greener, especially if you're rallying against common sense for cosplay capital insurrectionists. Again, that
That's a
concludes.
hashtag, bro. That's a
Yes,
hashtag.
hashtag. And hell, it might also be a podcast title. Jesus. That concludes the segment on the second rally at the Capitol, the rally to end all rallies. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about how to prevent, or rather, how to reduce children from getting in front of screens, whether it's a phone, tablet, TV, you name it. Coming up next on Cal Park Bros.